two things happened during this trial. One was the chief of the assistant chief said that Harvey told him the department would be better off without that goddamn black bastard. And then on cross-examination, the deputy chief says that wasn't racial. So on redirect, I said, no, chief, you testified that when the judge told you the department would be better off without that goddamn black bastard, it wasn't racial. And he said, that's right, Mr. Gossens. I said, would you look at the jury and tell them what words you would add to make it racial? And his face never answered. His face just, you know, it's one of those better to the jury than any damn transcript in the world. And the other one was the last question I asked Harvey. I said, Judge, you don't think you did a thing wrong, did you? And if he had been smart, he would have said, Mr. Gossens, if I did, I'm sorry. I never meant to hurt him. But instead, I knew exactly what he'd say. I didn't, and he slammed the lectern down. Absolutely not, you know. I always thought that was the $200,000 question.
You know, in the 1930s, Racine, 30s, 40s, 50s, Racine has had quite a tradition of being a very strong Klan town.
The time was changing, and as a result of that, the police force had to make some changes.
I saw more of a racial balance within the city developing. It wasn't quite as expedient as what I would have expected, but I was assured that by other people within the city that this all took time.
We did have some unrestness that took place, and that unrestness that took place, it was an awareness for the city, it was an awareness for a lot of people that had never been involved in any type of disorder.
It was a difficult time for the country, not just Racine. And race was certainly an issue that was at the core of things.
You know, it wasn't a very volatile time at that particular time. We went through the 60s, you know, which is very volatile. But in the 70s, things were kind of calmed out to a degree.
Syl was appointed because of lack of minorities within our fire department and our police department in the city of Racine. And part of that racial balance was the appointment of Syl Harris.
He's aggressive, fearless. That's the way they hired the man for the job in the first place. I told you that story. And hence, that type of a personality is going to rub some people the wrong way.
I think they thought he might come there and the other people that didn't really want him to have the job and not be as effective, or just be a sounding board and not follow up and not pursue complaints and wrongdoings. And that's where I think the problem started.
They would have liked Syl Harris to do what he did in terms of control over the black community, but to be an Uncle Tom, and he was not.
He was so forthcoming with trying to help people that we thought it may be dangerous for him.
Judge Harvey was a very, very popular man in the white community. Closet racist. Supposedly he said he wasn't racist because he had black people that cleaned his house.
I represented a black neurologist who I brought into court on a speeding ticket, and Judge Harvey gave him at least a 8-minute lecture on how we don't need any black doctors. We need bricklayers and carpenters.
But Judge Harvey knew he had the power to do what he wanted to do at any time.
His relationship with blacks was that of a plantation to the slave.
when I saw what happened at that John Doe investigation, including that they ran it at midnight on a Friday night, I said, this is not right.
He always did want to try to get Sill. Always told Captain Dodge and Assistant Chief Agopian that they should get rid of that nigger, kick him off of there, put him in his place. The district attorney's office was in collusion also. So when this Vorlab incident happened, I think he saw this as an opportunity to try and get Sill fired from his job.
If you had an opportunity to read those transcripts, it would stun you. It would stun you that in America, this type of haranguing of a witness could occur by an impartial person.
This is a situation where there was no victory for Sylvester, and there was no draw for Sylvester. And looking back at it, I should suppose that that may well have been the worst part of what Dick Harvey did.
The Sill Harris I knew, in his words, was the youngest and blackest police lieutenant in the history of the country.